What is school for you? What's the purpose of school? And for me, the definition I finally got to was it helps you uncover and develop your individual gifts and talents, and it prepares you for the practical affairs of life.
Well, that's what it should be.
It's what it should. That's what school is to me.
Yeah, well, I mean,
school for me gave me the 180. I don't think it did anything really to uncover my gifts and talents. In fact, a lot of times it tried to cover them up or discourage them, and then it didn't prepare me for the practical affairs of life.
Well, what did? So if school didn't, how did you get to the place where now you do?
Well, for me, it was after college. And I went to college just to prove something. I was told, oh, you wouldn't make it in college. You can't, college is not for you. You won't even be able to get in. You won't be able to succeed. So I went just to prove something. And I didn't learn much. I met some great friends. I played sports. That was great. But I can say the business classes I took have done absolutely nothing for me for my entrepreneurial career. Where I learned everything was after I got out of college, I started to pursue what I really wanted to do and how I was going to best develop myself. So I started taking classes in personal development, financial intelligence, and relationship skills. And those three things, as you and I came together years later, we found were not taught in school. You and I had to stumble backwards into these things. They were never core curriculum, let alone enhancement curriculum. And so I just said, why wouldn't we move this to the forefront?
So Sam, again, relationship skills, personal development,
relationship skills, financial intelligence. Because what we found was it doesn't matter to us, we would say with our kids, be who you want to be, take the path you want to take. So that could mean, they could be the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, an author, an athlete, an actor, whatever it is.
I thought you were going to make another rhyming word in there. I'm like, wow,
I don't know how I even said all
author?
That. Yeah, that was a lot of A's. So, but whatever they decide to do, they will need personal development, relationship skills, and financial intelligence to help them on their personal side of their life and their professional side. And the best comparison I can give for that is a doctor. We've worked with lots of doctors and invested with them in real estate, become good friends with them. And doctors will be the first to say that they were fooled. They were told that if they studied and went through all those years of school, everything would be figured out in life. And the problem is, we've worked with some doctors on the family side as well, and everyone struggles, but doctors in particular, we've seen where I've met doctors who, yes, they could save your life. They could take a piece of your brain out, fix it, and put it back in. Yeah, it's incredible, the incredible skill. It's something that I'm just fascinated by. However, they're uncomfortable in their own skin, their relationships are in the toilet, and they're always broke, even though they make a good amount of money because they're horrible at handling money and their financial intelligence is low. So it shows it's not just the skill. Whatever the skill is, I think personal development will help uncover that. But if you don't have strong personal development, relationship skills, or financial intelligence, I think you'll struggle.
Yeah.
And I don't want I want my children to be challenged, but not to unfairly struggle.
And personal development would be things like finding out truly about yourself, right? Like knowing who you are, what makes you tick, those things that, your freak factor. What are you super good at that you need to go deeper into? What is your spirit calling you into? What do you lose time while doing?
Lose track of time doing.
How to create and elevate your emotional intelligence instead of being, becoming the emotion, how to watch the emotion, to be the watcher instead of, what are some other things that come up for you when we think of personal development and relationship skills?
Well, I think
financial intelligence is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, money and how it works. Why wasn't that offered in fifth grade? My parents, as you know, went broke in fifth grade, and that was extremely painful to watch and be a part of. And it always made me question for the rest of school, how come I'm not learning about money when it's such an important assistance to a family? Backing up to what you said, I mean, that right there, emotional intelligence, that's so important. I never knew until I was in my early 20s that those two words could even go together, emotion and intelligence. I thought your emotions were just something that kicked in and just, went hog wild, and you just had to ride the roller coaster of them, and nothing could be further from the truth. And I think that's not only emotional intelligence, but proper mindset. And I was lucky to get some glimpse of those lessons early. Remember, my parents sent me I think by accident, to a summer camp where actually they taught when I was in
They thought it was like a
grade.
torture camp, but like they mixed up the lines and signed you up for the really good one.
Yeah, right. Luckily. But no, it was a fun summer camp, but for an hour or two in the morning, they taught the principles of Napoleon Hill, which is pretty fascinating that I was learning that in 5th grade. But that was for 1 week out of the summer. And I was like, wow.
And Napoleon Hill is someone that we've gone on. We both have read, and we've both had our older boys study.
Yeah, so I think that, look, we always want our children to be curious and be open to learning, but I won't lie to my kids. I think that was important that Dave said that with his daughters. Like, hey, I don't think I'm going to use this thing I'm being...
It was algebra. She wasn't doing well in algebra, and he said, well, then don't do it.
You might not use this, especially with technology changing, AI, not giving children a pass to just quit. But sometimes we found with our kids now, and even ourselves, when we are allowed to go deep into what do we truly enjoy, what are we truly good at, what does the world need, then we don't have to be held. We don't have to be held to discipline.
Oh, so
devoted.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the difference between it's not discipline, it's devotion. That was so aha when it's like, I don't show up to podcast or to film or to write because I'm disciplined. Like, I love this.
Yeah,
I really enjoy the conversations. I enjoy connecting with our children. I enjoy learning with you and from you. And I enjoy reading and writing and developing the farm or whatever it may be. And I think that that's not discipline, that's devotion. And when people say, well, how can you do that? Like our oldest son, how can you get up and go fishing? It's cold, it's early, it's wet. It's like,
he's
not
devoted.
Discipline,
But the devotion, I think, came, neither one of us could have taught him how to become a professional fisherman.
Or the devotion for it.
We were able to provide the lessons of personal development that gave him the space to say, what are you naturally good at? What do you enjoy? What would the world need? What could you see yourself doing a business with? And it all created from there. And so that's why I like to use things where the odds are high. It makes sense to us that if it's going to be considered core curriculum, then the odds of you actually directly using it, I think, should be very high. So again, nothing against chemistry. Chemistry is extremely important.
You mean like the sit in a classroom
chemistry? Sit in a classroom.
Not like chemistry.
Not chemistry between us. That would be relationship skills. But the science chemistry, yeah, that's super important. Would we be telling our children the truth if you looked them in the eye and said, you need to get a good grade in this because there is a 90 to 95% chance or greater that you're going to use this in your life? We'd be lying. I'm not going to lie to my children. That's just, I always say, I will always tell you bad jokes, which I fulfill on a daily basis, but I will not lie to you. And I've really tried to stick to that, and I think I've done a good job on that, and with the bad jokes especially.
No, you're totally fine. Go ahead.
You thought that was funny. See, I get one good joke out of there.
I was laughing at you, I don't know.
Thank you.
What's the right?
Why should this be any different?
To you, whatever.
So,
I'm too tired for this.
Where was I? Core curriculum. I am sure, and again, I've asked my two oldest especially to say, put me to this. You have a great bullshit detector within you. You say, do I see myself using this now, today, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I tell them to ask those questions to see what's priority, what's really important. And when any of the children that we've taught at different workshops or retreats, we've talked to them years later, they take this litmus test of personal development, relationship skills, and financial intelligence. They say, hell yeah, we use these. We see the importance. We want to keep learning these.
How?
Well, some of the best ways to learn that we found, great question.
You're on a roll.
Is books.
Yeah.
And not just hand them a book and say, hey, read this and I'll give you $100. Had some mentors that did that. We've gotten in some fun debate on that. But I think that's bringing kids back to school of what's on the test. And you're just trying to figure out some words to put on a piece of paper, hand it in, and be done, not really learn it. So learning, I think...
They're consuming, not digesting.
Yeah, and in order to digest, we do a deep dive, slow digest. So reading a book is a team effort. So we would bring a book in, we're talking 3-4 books a year, one a quarter on one of those subjects, personal development, relationship skills, financial intelligence. We'd read 10 to 15 pages a week.
Like a chapter.
Yeah, we're not talking, a huge bar here, but even if they had to cram right before we were going to sit down to review it, great, then cram.
But at least they're getting it done. Chat wasn't around then. I know those boys, they would have chatted every chapter, every week.
Well, but even if they had, let's look at that. they still would have had to discuss it with us.
Yeah.
And so the discussion part where we would read a little bit and then we would go to a dinner a week. Our younger kids would go into Kids Zone at our beach club up the road, and we would have a discussion around this. And there were some incredible books that we read in these subjects. I don't know if you want to name a few.
Of what? Some of the books?
Yeah.
Oh, like The Alchemist, Outwitting the Devil, Who's in Your Room, Drama Triangle.
Yep.
Power of Ted.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
The Richest Man in Babylon. 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. That's just a name.
Way of the Warrior.
Way of the Warrior Kid by Jocko Willink. These were all great ones. Mm-hmm. And they rose really good conversations. And what we found in real conversations, Jamie and I could share some triumphs and defeats in our life growing up where we needed these lessons, where these lessons indirectly helped us, or we didn't have them, so that we really fell backwards. And it gets our kids to get a chance to know us better, but also to see that, hey, these guys aren't bullshitting us. These lessons are important. We will use these. They're not trying to just make us do something to do it. They're sharing these lessons and helping us learn these lessons because they're important. And we've gotten that feedback now from both of our older sons who are in their 20s now, like, we thought you guys were weird, but that stuff was really important. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was and. We think you're weird and. This is really important. Okay, so what about, you still have to check the box. So here's the thing. Okay, so school doesn't teach emotional intelligence, it doesn't, but relationship skills, personal development, and financial intelligence. It teaches all these other things, some of which you need, some of which you don't need. It's like, I'm not going to go there, but not everybody needs all the things. And so for like when we were speaking with Dave on his podcast, how do you balance, you can't only teach your children this. I mean, I guess you could, but for us, we did it. We homeschooled for high school. They had to check the box on the 4 things that they had to do, right? And then this was our supplemental education. Now, some people want to go to a traditional high school and they want to be in the experience. Do parents supplement additionally? Do you recommend that? Or what do you think? What we have done is not necessarily what everyone could or would want to do.
I never want to tell people what they need to do. I can only tell you what's worked for us.
Yeah.
The experiment has gone through. We've gone through all of the years now, and we're happy with the results. And so, more importantly, so are our kids. That's what's worked for us. I wouldn't tell anyone what to do for themselves.
So what would be
what's best
the
for
option?
Them.
Like, okay, so
if to go to the bare minimum, if you're not at least exposing them and sharing these lessons in like a book format, I mean, to really lower the bar, even if by the time they're out of high school, you read one book on each of these together, you would be eons ahead of other people. Because the problem for me was I didn't even know financial intelligence
was like a thing.
What was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't
even know if I heard that word until I met you.
No.
Like those 2 things together.
I didn't even know it was a thing. So just to put it on their radar.
So true.
And introduce it, that opened a whole new world. Personal development, know thyself. Like you have the power within your own mindset to elevate your life. Like,
because I think we all know that, right? That's that buzzing when your kids they come home and they're like, but I don't want to. Like sometimes they don't want to because but like other times there's that disconnect. Like Dave's daughter who thought, well, I know I'm not going to use this algebra. So I just think that we all are born with a knowing of like what calls to us and what.
Yeah.
So it's great. The personal development.
And this also goes to read a book, go to one class, with your child before
like a workshop.
Like a workshop, a one-day class, an event that focuses on one of these subjects. Do it with your spouse. These are things that will remind you, like some of the stuff I learned in high school, I don't give a shit if I ever learn about again.
I can sing the capitals of the states in alphabetical order.
That's super helpful, along with parallelograms. So nothing against parallelograms. They're just not helping me with life right now. But I do want to keep learning personal development, financial intelligence, and relationship skills. It helps our marriage. It helps the relationship with my children. It helps the work that we do with others. And so I want to keep learning those. And so I would encourage you to set the example. You want your kids to learn it. Well, are you learning it? Our kids, again, they could not look at us and say, you guys are making us learn it and you're not doing it. because they see us knee deep in these lessons that we continue to podcast on and do videos on and invite guests on and go to events on.
And I love that when we struggle, they can remind us, hey, you slipped back into X, Y, and Z, or hey, you weren't applying. I like that they can challenge us because we have this shared vocabulary and these shared experiences of, knowing ourselves, knowing our patterns, our triggers, our emotions, and our finances. I love that we have that. And so I think this is something that we can talk about, in smaller categories. We talked a lot about the personal development portion, but maybe we can talk about financial intelligence in the next one.
Yeah, we can come back to it. But again, the 3 lessons that we focus on that were not taught in school that I think would make a huge difference. And, Jamie and I have both gone through some really tough times in our life. And what we've said is, had we been more proficient in those 3 categories, we could have either avoided the really tough times or mitigated them. And we could have, if we had deeper understanding in those 3 lessons, the better times in our life, we could have accelerated and had it even better. So that's why it's so important to us, because we want our kids to struggle, but not unfairly. We want them to be challenged, but we want them to not show up, not to be violent, but to a gunfight with a knife. We want to give them the right equipment to be able to succeed in life. I know you probably don't like that violence. I guess that's my Jersey coming out. But it's like you always said, you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. That's an old saying. So we want to equip our kids with what will truly help them succeed in life personally and professionally. So that's we found books and specialized classes around those 3 subjects. Game changer. We can get more into the context, the Montessori, Waldorf, and experiential education another time, but those are the subjects. I think they've made a great impact. We've had a lot of our 18 Summers families, although this has worked for us, share their experiences focusing on these 3 core curriculums as well. But again, that's...
If there's anything that our subscribers want to put below that they think should also be added to this list of our 3, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you want to hear more, I think we'll talk more on financial intelligence next time.
Sounds good to me.
We'll
talk next time.